I'm going to be writing and recording this along with me working on this week's animations. You know, the ones I post onto Instagram and YouTube Shorts. I'll break down the idea of the animation I'm trying to do. Here's what I can try based on previous ideas, then go at it until it looks good in my eye. Sure, these are only a few seconds long, but this kind of attention to detail will help me quite a bit in the long run. This first animation I want to make is just another walking test. In my previous dev blog, I thought the robot could emphasize its weight by raising high and stomping fast. I honestly forgot to hit record as I was working on it, but here's the point to when I already keyed the first step. I like the idea that the robot is often hunched over, just so it either can keep an eye on the other character in the duo who's curious with every other thing, or make a comfortable arrangement if she wants to be on his shoulders. Hitting the T key while hovering over the timeline here and highlighting which keyframes shows this menu for changing the transition. There's another menu that I don't use this day but mess with later. When the leg raises to step forward, I chose quintic. It's the fastest here that doesn't make it look too jank. And as for the stomp, I chose exponential. I get the keys close so it ramps in speed really quick to the point it just slams the foot down. Could have also given the camera a little shake to add in a dramatic effect for the stomp, but I only care about animating the character at this point in time. After doing the same thing with the next step, I just loop it 3 times and upload it as it is. I don't need these to be all that long, just better than before. I believe today that the rise was a bit too fast. I would have preferred that the walk part of it would have been smooth, but the stomp would have been heavy. I just didn't achieve that. Maybe next time though, I'll get it right. I give today a 6 out of 10. An idle animation for a robot. Really a test animation for that to show all the tiny mechanisms that the robot has. This one doesn't have many, but still has a few. There's the shutting of the 360-degree optical lens and the screen on its chest. Besides that, I'll show it crouching over and a little arm spin. When the robot crouches, I believe setting the hip bone to have a bounce transition works best over everything having it. As a side note for the future, I'd like to experiment with different bones with different transitions more. The most interesting part about today's animation is the arm spin. To set up for that, I wanted the robot to act like a person trying to stretch their shoulder. Wanted to make the animation of the arm stretch to be a bit smoother, so I used a little something I learned out of a camera tutorial. Now, like subdivisions, this will make everything smoother, even the parts you may not want to be smooth. But here I'm fine with that. I'm getting better, not perfect. If I really wanted it to be good, I'd learn the graph editor and how to work with it. Not today, or even this week. After the spin, oh, it's on Quaternion again, or however you pronounce it. It makes 360s impossible. It just adds so much jank that doesn't need to be there from my experience. After that, it's finished. Just change the lighting a little bit and get it rendered. This one, it's just jank to look at. The crouch over is too fast. The arm stretch doesn't look good, but I like the spin. The spin is the main thing I like about animating with this model, which will be quite apparent tomorrow. Today gets a 4 out of 10. I've already done what I wanted to try out on the first 2 days. I don't feel like I'm going to progress until I move on to this next step. Making it a bit longer and doing more of it that time. What I'm going to try here is start with a leap to the great sword. With it, he immediately starts swinging and blasting with a spinning finisher. In the midst of making this animation, I found a good tutorial that taught me a new constraint used for mainly picking objects up. Used to here for when the robot leans into the blade to pick it up and when he sets it down to re-grip it. With some minor technical difficulties, I got the re-grip to work, fixed the issue I was having with the original object by straight up duplicating it and resetting the constraint so that this location is the original and not the first one's origin. At first, the spin was going to be the end, but I wanted another attack in here where the re-grip comes in. As the robot gets its hands right, the other will be blasting to its sides. With the basic poses all set up, it's time to transition them all. Adding new keys is needed to make it smooth, and this shows I cannot eyeball the timing for these actions. Plenty of tweaking here. After the animation's been keyed, I thought it could use some camera work as well. A little cherry on top, if you will. So what I said for day 1, it's out the window. I used some good film class knowledge and did the same shot of the slam attack twice to sell the impact of it more. Angle could have been a bit better, but still good. And with that, the animation is done. I am very proud with this day. I am definitely going to be watching this over and over again as I go to bed. Seeing what I could have done better, only thing I could think of, why couldn't it be longer? This is 9.5 out of 10 day, baby! Today is when I decided that the next step here is going to be a second character to these scenes. Instead of the dynamic duo being made, how about the antagonistic force? To do this, I'm drawing up the designs today for the antagonist, then create the model tomorrow. It was either that or make the basic enemy, but it feels cooler doing the big guy. My thought process was to take the main character and flip his idea around. He's round, very little detail, and colder colors. Flipping that over means I need warmer colors, sharp edges, more detail. I looked at some looks that fit well enough, but later on I took reference from Ultron in old Marvel comics and Atom Smasher in Cyberpunk, specifically his younger 2023 look. I chose this look for the character because every robot in this world looks like a robot. So when you look at this guy, he has humanoid characteristics, and you may question if he's just a man in a big suit. I drew the character a second time when I started modeling to get a better feel on how he's put together. It's really helpful to do that, really. Day 5, I literally did, I barely did much. Honestly, there was no progress made today. I tried to start the model up, but man was that head shit. It was not good. If I have footage here, I straight up deleted this file. It wasn't, it didn't start good. So nothing happened day 5. Day 6 though, I started the model again, got the head to a good look that I liked. It fit the sketch well. A split between two ideas for the legs. One was similar to prosthetics that runners use, but able to straighten and be controlled. The other was just a big stump spike. I didn't remember the word prosthetic at first when searching for a reference and just typed runner leg replacement. Just a silly little brain fart I had. I got the body into a good enough look, made the arms, stopped at the hands. I just need to do the fingers, legs, and armature by the end of tomorrow. Possibly make an animation to show that it's finished. I did just that. I made the model into an A pose, so it looks more comfortable to look at when it comes to the shoulder pieces. Set the parents for all the IK stuff earlier, as I know what I like the pulls and targets to be set to. I set it up for the arms this time, will still have IK for most of it, but still has FK when it comes to the shoulder and clavicle. With that done, and time to symmetrize it. Oh shit, one more time. After a few fixes and one more time. And voila! It's done. He is now animation ready. Speaking of, let's do that real quick. I wanted a revealing style of an animation. Character's facing away, turns to camera, clenches fist. Here's some tomfoolery that pissed me off as I was animating this whole thing. Rendered it out. Sadly, it would have been much cooler if it was landscape rather than portrait, but here it is. And that marks the end of the week. In conclusion, I did really well with the animation at the beginning and ended pretty strong, I feel. I'm starting to get the hang of these little transitions, so next week I will have to start messing with the dope sheet and tweak them directly, see how I fare doing that. I would also like to make these animations a bit longer, say 30 seconds, so there's going to be a bit more, not much happening, standing around, walking around. Maybe these little interactions between these two models. For next week, I want to just do a little bit of just this new guy alone. You know, give him a little bit of the spotlight here. For the future when I'm making models, it's his quality, which isn't too crazy of a jump that I'm normally doing, but ooh. You could see a little bit of a lighting weirdness on the side of his head in the animation I did. And I don't know topology well enough for the body, so the backs and sides when you're turning the body around, it's just weird. Tiny steps for the future. I want to try to make these little blogs weekly now with the system of daily posts and whenever I can, so I'll see you all next week. Hopefully. Yeah.